And first on the agenda is, what do we do first? Roll call?
Yeah, let's do a roll call.
All righty, so roll call. Oh, I just lost my agenda. Makoto, are you present?
Yeah.
There you are. No David yet?
No David yet.
Will, are you present?
I am here.
Excellent. And Rachel, are you present?
Rachel is not going to make the meeting
Oh,
tonight.
Rachel's not going to make the meeting. Mary, are you present?
Here.
Yes. And Sarah won't be at our meeting tonight, right?
No, she's hoping to join us next month.
Okay, well, I think we're as good as we're going to get tonight.
I think so.
I think so too. Let's see, what was next on our agenda?
I don't see anybody here for public comment.
Nope, no public comment tonight. Consent agenda. Minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes or to change the minutes?
I make a motion
to approve.
Okay, that was made by Will and Mary.
1 and 2. Let's just go with that.
Pick one and I'll second it.
Okay, we got a
Okay.
motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
All righty, moving through here. Any changes to the agenda tonight? Not seeing any hands raised, so we'll continue on. New business. 10 Eyck Road. Sarah, would you like to introduce that and our guest? Oh, no,
Yes.
our guest is for Butte City.
Yeah, that's okay. Shelley might jump in here. She might know something about this development, but this is a very small 9-lot subdivision, zoned R2, and in their narrative and information, it looks like to be a combination of single family and duplex, potentially all duplex. The lots are 50 foot wide. They range from 4,827 to 8,604 square feet. And they are proposing fee in lieu, which this entire property is just barely over an acre. I think it's 1.16 acres, so call it 1.2 acres. So any land dedication would be something we really couldn't use. So the staff has recommended that we accept the fee in lieu. I did want to mention that, we've been talking a lot about the proposed trail system, and in our updated master plan, which is not yet adopted, so we can't really compel anybody, but I just wanted to let you know there is a part of that trail that goes near this property. But if you look at the vicinity map that's included, or if you want me to pull it up on the screen, I can. It really, let me see if I can share this. Hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and share it, just in case. So this is, can you all see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the property here. This is 7-Eleven here. This is the police station, just to give you some reference. This is that corner of 10 Eyck and Highway 26. So, I'm going to pull up one other thing here in a minute, but just kind of think about where this is. But, our proposed trail and hopes for a trail comes in this kind of area, or could go, a variety of different places. But I just wanted to give you some reference to that. And let me see if I can you see that now? The trail?
The yellow line? Nope, not there.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'll try and. Okay, so this is from the updated master plan, again, not adopted. But the subject property, where is it? It is, I had saved it in a different manner, so give me a second here.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, basically right here, right? And so, you know, hopes for some trails in that area, but not necessarily through that subject property.
Okay.
Is there a sidewalk? Like, is it sidewalk
There's-
accessible?
I think it's curbed but not sidewalked at this time.
I'm just
I-
gonna
I
pull.
imagine-
Is the sidewalk proposed as part of the project to continue?
Where would you have it continue, Makoto?
Well, I'm just wondering if there's a break in the trail right there, is there at least a sidewalk for people to walk on to connect to the other part of the trail that's just north of that property?
So I know the
Um,
site, I know the site pretty well. Do you mind if I interject for a second?
Go ahead.
That site's pretty well, so where that trailhead starts on the proposal is actually the end of a dead-end street. It's more like a lane. There's a couple of houses on the other side of the street from the proposed subdivision. So this is the side of the Lutheran church.
Right.
And there's,
That's right here.
and so the trail could be accessed, I mean, via the parking lot of the Lutheran church at a right angle to the trail, or that dead end. I don't think it's the end of a sidewalk unless the city makes them put in a sidewalk.
Yeah,
Which that'd be a great idea. If they had to put a sidewalk on, I guess that would be the north side of the property. But where that trailhead starts on the proposal is actually the end of a lane. If that helps it add any clarity.
Is that, is that Hood Street, the end of the lane that you're referring to?
You know,
Or-
it probably is an extension of Hood Street, but I don't know the exact name of it.
Okay.
are you guys seeing my screen right now?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, so you see the vicinity map. So you're talking right in here, right, Will?
Yeah, so if you zoom, actually that other picture was better.
Okay.
But
Let me bring that back up.
I mean, there's some playground equipment in there. It must be like no man's land right now, but it's certainly not part of our park system. It was probably put there by the church.
Where does
Yeah.
it pick up just north of that property then? Where the,
Can you enlarge that a little bit, Sarah?
Sorry, say that again, Don?
Can you enlarge that a little bit?
You know, I don't think I can because this is just a photo and it's not giving me that opportunity. Oh, take that back. Let me do this. Do that with my fingers.
Holy smokes.
yeah, so it picks up over at Fir, at the end of Fir.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
here's the
That's- I don't
property
even-
we're talking about.
As long as it's sidewalked to Fir, but is there a pass through from Hood Street to Hood Court?
There's Tenny, so the lane's a dead end. And then,
So that-
go ahead.
This is a dead end right here, right?
Where the trail, from the trailhead to Tenny, that's a street. It's got maybe 3 homes on the north side of it, and then this lot is on the south side of it.
Right. So that's Hood Street that's on the north side of it.
Okay, so on your map, sir, I'm seeing like a little red or dark brown parcel, catty corner to Hood Street, like and Tenike, like that intersection
Oh, I
just
see that.
northwest of there. Is that supposed to be a pass through that connects to Hood Court or Fir? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I see it.
I believe that that's existing trail.
Is it?
It's probably just a little pass through. That's what all the brown on this map is existing trail and the green and yellow is the proposed trail.
Okay, so there's spaces between the house. So there is a connection from Hood Street to Hood Court so that you can go all the way up Fir Drive to where the trail is going to propose to connect. That goes over to the community center property.
Right.
T20 or whatever, right? We want to connect
Mhm.
T20 with T21.
Yes.
And so if that stretch right there is sidewalk, that would be nice. I mean, just so that there's a protected walkway for pedestrians.
I'll ask Kelly about that. I don't know whether that is something the city can compel them to do or not, but we can certainly put that in the notes.
I would think they'd be able to require a sidewalk for the houses.
Yeah,
Whether
just a question of what,
whether a sidewalk exists on the church property or not, hard to say. But if there's only a couple of houses, at least, if, you know, on the north side, there may or may not be sidewalks. On the south side of Hood, where the subject property hits Hood, I would think they could be required to have a sidewalk. In fact, I'd be kind of surprised if the city didn't require sidewalks for new houses.
well, if you're just talking about the property itself, the development property, and it's on the perimeter of that property, I think you're right. I would imagine it's included in the plan, but I don't know. I can find out.
Does Shelley know?
Shelley, are you listening?
Yes. So I am getting caught up. This is Emily's
Yeah.
application, but I'm looking at the civil plans. I mean, typically we do require sidewalk improvements with any new residential development, and I'm looking at the civil plans, and it looks like they are intending to build a sidewalk around Hood, Eyck, and Pleasant.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So there's a little stretch between the church parking lot and Hood Court and the subject property. There's a little square in there. I don't know who owns it. It could be the church. That would not be, that may or may not have a sidewalk.
I'm not sure. No, I'd have to look a little. I'd have to dig a little.
So it would be like almost a little flag on the northeast corner of the subject property, between the church parking lot and the lane.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be unknown, but having the 75% of it, whatever estimate with the sidewalk, I think that's a great idea, Makoto.
Yeah. I agree. Okay.
Good with that?
What other discussion do we need to have with this?
I think if there's more discussion, great. Otherwise, we would be looking for a recommendation from the Parks Board.
What, to accept the fee in lieu, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be a motion for somebody.
I motion that we accept the fee in lieu of.
Per staff recommendation. Is there a second to that motion?
Yeah, I second. There shouldn't be any park space. It's a pretty darn busy road, that area.
Well, and
Such
it would be a
constricted
postage
site.
stamp too.
Yeah, and it'd be posted.
What, could they put in a slide?
Yeah, I'll
You can put in a
second
couple parking spots for the trailhead. No,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, no, that's good.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not hearing or seeing any. All those in favor say aye.
that.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. All righty, we are whipping through this.
So I'm gonna mute myself here.
B City information. Shelley, would you like to talk to us about B City information?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'll be really brief. So Sandy recently became a Bee City USA affiliate. You're probably familiar with the Tree City USA program. So Bee City is very similar in that it sort of sets up a city to advocate for pollinator species. So bees, hummingbirds, moths, butterflies. So there are a few different requirements of a Bee City USA affiliate, including having a committee, implementing policies that support pollinator species, doing public outreach and providing resources to the public about pollinator-friendly gardening practices, all kinds of things. So this is very new. Carl Exner, Councillor Exner, and I are kind of taking the lead on this. And we are working on getting our committee put together. So we're very interested, obviously, in having the support and the participation of the Parks Board. And so we're actually having a meeting on Tuesday of next week. That's the 15th at 1:00 p.m. If any of you are able to make it, I know this is a little last minute, but if any of you are able to make it, we'd love to have you there. Does anybody know if they'd be able to make it, or potentially future meetings?
I think I can.
Okay, yeah, that would be fantastic.
That was what day again? Tuesday the 15th?
Tuesday the 15th at 1:00, and it'll be virtual. It'll be over Google Meet.
I mean, feel free to send me an invite.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
Is
send
it
me
gonna
one
be
too.
posted on the city website?
The meeting will likely not be recorded. That's a really good question. Something we ought to look into, because I think now we are an official committee. I'll look into that to see if we need to have that recorded and posted on the website. But otherwise, our plans are to meet quarterly. And one of the big reasons we're really interested in getting the Parks Board involved is because we would love to see potentially some pollinator gardens in the parks. Working with the Parks Board and Public Works to make sure that a lot of the plant species that we're planting in the parks are pollinator friendly. So Mary and Dawn, I will email you an invite to that meeting. And then Makoto, were you interested in coming, or?
I'm interested. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have access. I'm gonna be in Northern California.
Oh, okay. I'll keep you updated. I'm also coming back in July to the July Parks Board meeting to give a little bit more of a more detailed presentation on what the program is, the responsibilities of the city, how we want to make sure that the Parks Board is involved and participating.
Cool.
Kind of getting a good handle on everybody's capacity and interests. So yeah, I'll email Mary and Dawn with an invitation to that meeting. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, is there any funding for promoting this? Like where we could install certain plant gardens that,
So City Council is really on board with supporting this, including supporting it financially. So we have a few project ideas that we're still kind of pricing out. A couple of things we're interested in, of course, pollinator gardens, needing to pay for those. We're interested in doing a pollinator coupon program. And so working with local nurseries to have the city pay for pollinator friendly plants. And then that gets translated into coupons that we can give to residents that they can then sort of trade in for a free pollinator friendly plant that they can put in their garden, right? There's different kinds of things, and that would come out of the council budget. I was going to add something else onto that.
like, is there federal funding like for Bee City? Is this an association or like?
So it's through the Xerces Society. They provide a lot of expert guidance and a lot of resources. They don't provide any funding. And this also ties into City Council's biennium goal to enhance biodiversity in the city, which is one of the reasons they're interested in financially supporting the program.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So send me an email. I might be able to get on in Humboldt or somewhere Arcata or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I'll send you an invite. Otherwise, I'll be back at your meeting in July with some nice looking slides to talk more about, what Bee City is and how we can get the Parks Board involved.
That'd be great.
Yeah, perfect. All right.
Thank you, Shelley.
Sarah, could
Yeah?
you share my email with Shelley so that I could be included on the invite?
Yeah, I think, and she has access to it on the website, but I will make sure that she has everybody's emails.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And Shelley, I did want to let you know the community center has a Zoom account if you need it for recording purposes or anything.
Good to know. Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna see if I could steal Jeff's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Shelley.
Bye-bye.
Did we just have somebody join us?
Yeah, is it David? Is that you?
No, it's Lori. So I'm coming from another meeting, going to this meeting. So
Okay. All right. Hi, Lori.
hey,
Hi, Lori. Welcome. Drive safely.
All right.
Yeah.
I will.
All right. Next on our agenda is item 6.3, sustainable park design discussion. I believe that was put on at the request of Makoto.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah. You kind of probably have a better.
well, hey, really, Makoto, this is yours to introduce.
Okay.
And I'm happy to have you take it away.
Okay, so I was at Bornstead Park at the splash pad, enjoying it, watching the kids play, and I noticed that that park seems, from my perspective, like it's a very high maintenance park. Each tree is, trimmed around and poisoned, and it's like that all the way up and down the whole park. And I was wondering, Don, you might have some good advice on this. If there's any way to lower the maintenance needs of certain parks by just letting it go feral, or just letting it kind of go back to jungle, or not have to just have like 8 bushes and then have to put sawdust down and like try to spray it. Is that a
the part of the issue associated with the park maintenance should really be addressed in the design portions of it. And I've noticed a few things about Bornstead that if I had a magic wand and go back and change some of the designs, I would be able to, or I would. And there's a few things I would change about it. But without that magic wand, it really becomes a question of modification of some of the things. And the choice of where they're spraying, I've noticed some unusual spray patterns there myself. I've noticed that they do spray around all the trees, which is very common. And we used to do it in Ashland. We did it in, Milwaukee and North Clackamas and Gresham, and all the different places typically do that. And they do it for a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons is to protect the tree from the lawnmowers and the lawnmowers from the trees. They tend to bump into each other fairly regularly, so you don't want to have them, that close to each other. So you tend to spray those out so that whoever the operator is can avoid them. Yeah. What I find interesting though is the spraying out of the curb lines along Sequoia Street. It seems like a little overkill to me as far as the spraying goes on a lot of them. When you get past the staircase, I can understand, a little bit about it, but it still doesn't make a lot of sense because there's still a lot of grass there you have to mow on a pretty steep hillside. So I get that, but nonetheless, I think that those still fit within the setbacks that we've established for playground equipment.
So I guess my question then with that information would be, what's the cost savings for maintenance versus a redesign and extra planting of an area to kind of let it go back to being more natural and less high maintenance?
Well, for a lot of it is really not as much of a cost as it is a public perception or a public acceptance. If the community is willing to accept a few weeds, then you can reduce the amount of spray you're using, and you can reduce the numbers of areas that you're spraying in. If I recall, our pesticide policy sets a setback of 50 feet, something like that, buffer between playgrounds and the community garden and different amenities from spray. I'm not sure that all those trees and the flower beds are outside of that 50 feet when it comes to the spray ground, if you will, the splash pad.
I don't think it's 50 feet, but it's substantial, but I don't think it's 50 feet.
You don't think it's that much? Okay. Well, I think one thing that we might want to ask Sarah to do is talk to the park maintenance folks and just remind them that we consider the spray area, the spray ground or the splash pad to be the same as a playground, that they shouldn't be spraying up against that.
Yeah, that's another thing I noticed is that the kids were playing in the splash pads and they're running around barefoot.
Yeah.
And then they ran around like about 5 feet over or a few trees or a line of trees that are sprayed around, and they're walking with their bare feet
right
on the ground that's been sprayed. And so I was wondering if there's any detrimental effects that could possibly happen from that as well, just from getting it on your foot and having it get into your system.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are studies that would indicate that there are bad things that happen when you have direct contact, skin to skin contact, so to speak, with an applied area. I would hope that they would be applying the pesticides under weather conditions that aren't, during the times of year when the kids just simply aren't as present as what they are right now. I would prefer that they not be spraying this time of year in the parks when you got a lot of kids running around in the parks. It doesn't make a lot of sense. That and a lot of the weeds have already germinated. So, you know, you can go out there and you can spray it and you might kill what's there, but you're not going to kill anything or prevent anything from coming up unless you put some pre-emergent down. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to spray right now. But going back to your question, I think that as we move forward and start building parks, I think that we need to be more involved with these questions of just from a dollars and cents aspect of it. You know, why are we doing certain things that we do, and why aren't we doing other things that we should be doing to reduce costs or to reduce ongoing maintenance? You know, one of the things that I've learned over the years is it costs a lot of money to build a park. It costs way more money to maintain that park over the lifespan of that park. And so the more you can do, even if it's spending a little bit more money up front, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
Yeah, because I could really imagine like a 10-foot, you know, just natural barrier that goes around the park that you don't have to do much to, and that provides a little privacy to the homes and to you know, people playing in the park too. So
yeah, well, I think that there, you know, again, that's a lot of that is good design work that needs to be done as we're working forward on that.
okay.
And it would be nice to, you know, maybe at some point we can work on developing some design standards for each of the parks. And a design standard really talks about those kinds of things. You know, it talks about wanting to have, if you have bleachers, to have a hard surface underneath it, so there's no temptation to spray weeds that can't grow underneath there, or to put mowing curbs underneath fences so that you're not trying to spray out the weeds underneath those fences. You can just mow right up to it. Benches, you know, so that they're not on grass, so that they're not being kicked out and having, you know, mud problems. There's just a lot of really common sense things.
Is that a motion?
One of the things that just drives me crazy about Bornstead Park, if you go over and look at the playground area, it's like you got these nice arched curbs that you can mow around easily around the playground structure, but they come to points pointing inward, which become very difficult to mow. And you can tell that they're difficult to mow by the fact that they used to spray the crap out of those areas to kill all the vegetation out of it. Those are the kinds of design things that I think we need to do a better job of here in Sandy, as far as looking at what's easier to take care of, what saves us money taking care of, and what really doesn't have minimal effects on the aesthetic or on the development cost of that park. So that's just my 2 cents to your discussion.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
So I'll take all of that and we can start maybe having that discussion going forward, you know, when we have agendas like tonight that are a little bit lighter, maybe we can have an ongoing discussion and start identifying some of those things like Don talked about and start building some recommendations in terms of design standards.
That would be great.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, big fun to talk about. Anything else you guys want to talk about in terms of park design and sustainability?
You know, I think Don mentioned like 3 major ones, you know, having hardscape underneath the bleachers, definitely having like a cemented in area under all the fencing so that you don't have to weed whack and you don't have to spray. That's a huge one, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse.
Can we make a motion to like add that to like as a priority right now? Because that's like one of the big ones is the cementing underneath the fencing.
Yeah, it's not it's, you know, it's a little expensive to do it retroactively.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it when you're building it, it's really not that expensive to do. And the labor savings alone are enormous. And right now, I think, you know, and I'm not intimately familiar with the budget for the department, but I would hazard a guess that one of the biggest shortages that we have isn't necessarily money, but labor. And I would suspect that anything that we can do to cut down on the amount of work that has to be done, the amount of busy work, if you will, that goes a long way to extending that labor.
We could, I mean, if we look at the budget, we could possibly measure the amount it costs to have an unpaved stretch of fence versus a paved stretch of fence, as far as labor costs, the amount of time they have to go by to spray, the spray itself to spray it. There's probably an equation there that we could figure out, right? I mean,
yeah, it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of math. But yeah, it's not hard to figure out estimates on how long it takes to do all those things.
yeah.
And then how many years it takes to pay it back.
I think as we continue to do, you know, to grow, and the fact that we're doing the master plans right now, that would be good to know
I think so too.
going forward.
I totally agree with you. Any other discussion? No? Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and move on to item 6.4, which is board elections. Sarah, do you want to talk a little bit about our procedures here?
Yeah, so annually at the last meeting of our fiscal year, which is in June, we elect board officers. Those officers hold that position for a year. We have 3 offices: chair, vice chair, and secretary. I did want to say that although the bylaws say that the secretary takes the minutes, really what happens is I take the minutes. It's nice to have somebody to forward them to before I put them out, just to say, hey, what about this? Or did you catch this? Especially when we go back to in-person meetings and I don't have these really detailed recordings. Although we do record the meetings, it's a little bit tougher sometimes to hear. So having somebody just as a backup to say, hey, I think you missed this or that, that's really what the secretary does. I think it's okay to say that Dawn, if the board agrees, is open for a nomination for another year as chairperson. So wanted to let you know that. And Makoto, I didn't know, Makoto is our current vice chair. Makoto, I didn't know if you wanted to make this announcement yourself or whether you would.
Yeah, so I've fallen in love with Oregon. It's been great to me and my family. And I've really loved participating and really growing and learning from not only Dawn and Sarah and Kathleen and a whole bunch of other people. But it's really an honor to be able to be part of the community in any respect like that, you know. But we're going to be moving at the end of July to Kauai. So I'm not going to be able to urban growth boundary to be able to participate anymore. But I do really value this group, and Sarah, you've been great at giving us all the information and everything, and as well as all the other people working for the city and their expertise that they bring. It's been really, really fun. So I would love to throw my hat in the ring, but pass it on to somebody else that's got the passion and time and love of parks that I've grown to like so much. So.
And is that a homecoming for you, Makoto?
No, I grew up in, cliche Orange County, California.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm one that came, took a spot, and then I'm gonna leave so that I don't take it, don't cause any more, displacement or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm going back to Kauai. I was out there for about 7 years.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, I might be back.
One never knows. Don't ever shut the door.
Yeah.
Right. Kauai's my favorite island. Love Kauai.
You're gonna have to come visit us.
I know, tempting.
Plenty of room, extra bedrooms for you to stay.
Make sure you leave us your email address.
Really?
Well, Makoto, I know that, there might be others who want to say, but I certainly have appreciated your participation and your passion for what we do. And I'm sure you'll continue wherever you are, but if you make your way back here, we hope to see you again. And thank you for all the time you've dedicated.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's
Right,
very
sounds-
rewarding.
Sounds to me like you got at least one more meeting left in you here.
Yeah, yeah, Gene. Yeah.
It was nice working with you, Makoto.
Yeah, it was very nice. I didn't get to work with you long, Mary. I would like to say, yeah, Dawn is like, your experience is beyond, the position of this board and stuff. So I hope, I'm going to vote for you just because
Thanks, Makoto.
you're a great leader. Your facilitating is excellent and on point, timely and everything. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Well, with that, sorry, Don, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say with that, do we have a nomination for board
Yeah.
chair?
I'll nominate Dawn for chair of Parks Board and Rec, advisory board.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. We do want to take a roll call vote, or I guess all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that carries. Anybody interested in the vice chair, that position, if, Dawn's out of town, unable to join us, that person would run our meetings, communicate with me about the agenda. Is there anybody who would like to step forward for that position? Do we want to give that some thought, and maybe the next meeting we'll revisit that?
Yeah, maybe, are we missing a couple tonight? We're missing a couple.
We are missing a couple, and I think it's okay if we move some of this to the next meeting.
Okay.
It's important to have our chair in place, but I think we can revisit this. Is anybody interested in being the secretary for the next year? Mary?
I will.
Okay, do we have a nomination?
I nominate Mary.
I'll second.
Thank you. Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. All those opposed? Okay, yay. Thank you, Mary. That'll be helpful.
Will, would you have any interest in being the vice chair?
Well, did you run away?
Am I there now?
Yes.
I said, I have all those things that Makoto mentioned, passion, love of parks, et cetera, et cetera. I do not have the time.
Okay,
Okay.
Thanks
I
for
already
thinking of me though.
all right. Well,
Well, we will save that for next week then, or next month.
yeah,
And we'll get that nailed down. Mary, thank you so much for stepping forward.
yes.
No, that's why I'm here.
There we go. Okay, next is old business. Item 7.1, Tickle Creek Trail. I was just there yesterday.
Well, you might have some things to share. This was sort of Rachel's agenda item. She wasn't able to be here tonight, but I thought we'd go ahead and see where everybody is with it and how you're feeling about it.
In what way?
Well, the original discussion was just around the maintenance of the trail and what the plan is when we have a windstorm and things of that nature. And then we came back at the next meeting and I shared, what Joe's sort of plan is after those events. They clear the trail, they move a lot of things off to the side with habitat in mind. It's difficult for them to get machinery in there to remove a lot. And that's kind of where we left it.
Honestly, I propose to just default to whatever the state and federal forests trails do. I mean, I understand the concern, the fire hazard concern for homes that abut or adjacent to it, or just after that last summer that we had. But that's kind of a bigger issue than just the parks being, maintained of dry wood. I mean, I think those trees are supposed to fall in the creek. They're supposed to provide habitat for not only the fish and the fry and stuff, the creek ecosystem, but when a log falls in the forest, it's supposed to provide a whole ecosystem of insects and mycelium and all that other stuff. So I feel like, you know, maintain the trail, yeah, but I mean, anything more than that is, I think, disruptive to the natural process of the whole point of having it natural to begin with. So that's my take on it.
I tend to agree with you, Makoto, on that. I have one issue that I would have a little concern about, and that's the explosion and growth of some of the blackberries down there. Is you know, if you're moving from east to west, I guess, or maybe it's south to north, not quite sure. From not the Fred Meyer end, but the other end, along the Barco there where you enter. Looks like there is private property that backs up to the top of the ridge that used to have a lot of trees on it that have come down. So it's kind of opened that area up. Feels like there's more sunshine coming in that area. I think that's kind of caused some explosion in the growth of some of the blackberries down in there. As far as you know, they're an invasive. They're not a native plant. They're a problem. They're starting to grow out into the walking area. In fact, I thought, well, next time I was going to throw some hand pruners in my pocket and clip a few back as I go along that are kind of hanging out and catching people in the head or the legs and things. But, you know, from a fire perspective, blackberry is pretty flammable when it dries out. And so if there was one area that I would say that we really do want to be able to maybe get a control on would be some of the blackberries. One of the best ways to deal with those is shade. And since we've lost a number of the shading trees in that area, I think that's what's leading to the exponential growth in the blackberries. So I guess just kind of talking to the maintenance guys, having been a maintenance guy myself, I know that the first solution that they'll want to look at is the use of crossbow or some of the herbicide to take care of them. But I think this area is so big and it's so close to the creek that it just doesn't make a lot of sense to do that down there.
Yeah, I don't think they can that close to the creek. And my recollection is, and I could be wrong about this, but I'll follow up, is that the city at one point contracted with somebody who specializes in mitigating that issue. So let me find out what we've done in the past and just let them know that, you know, the board has some concerns about that area. Yeah. And see, you know, make sure that they're aware of it, and two, find out if there's a plan.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It would be nice. I don't know if there is a group or a community group that's looking for a volunteer project or something that, you know, wouldn't mind going through there and doing some slack work.
Maybe the ant farm.
Maybe.
Speaking of that spot, that backs onto the Trimble property that you could see off of 211.
211, yeah.
And I've noticed that they've been moving a lot of earth over there. I know it's not incorporated into the urban growth boundary yet, but it is part of the urban growth proposed expansion. But I know they're moving like a lot of dirt, and I know that before there was like a little valley there that had, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because they've had issues with him knocking down. I forgot there was some issue with the border there with the park, city park, and that property. But I don't know if there's, you know, a county or something that's understanding what's going on there. But for any future proposed development plans over there, they're turning some unbuildable steep property into filling it up with fill, so that I think it's buildable. But I don't know if that's.
Can I chime in on this a little bit?
Sure.
Do you mind, Don? Sorry
Go ahead.
So this is Lori. So that property is not supposed to be, I know that he's moving earth. I've seen that myself. That property is supposed to be staying stagnant for a period of time. So Sarah, when you put in for that back to maintenance, can you maybe ask Jordan if we can get any traction to see if Trimble maybe has to compensate for some of that? because he was never supposed to take those trees down in the first place.
Okay, Lori, can I give you a call tomorrow so you can just give me a little more background, then I'll
Yeah.
call Jordan? Okay,
Yep, that's perfect. Thanks.
yep.
Thank you, Lori.
Yep.
And yeah,
Okay.
I have
Keep driving
to,
carefully. Makoto, anything else?
yeah, I just want to reiterate, yeah, I don't agree with the crossbow that has the G4D in it.
Yeah.
The you know, same ingredient as that was part of the Agent Orange.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty harsh one, and it smells horrible.
I mean, even if the city has to go in there and just clear it out and then replant, like have ant farmers, some community event where we could replant or something, that would be good.
Yeah. Well, if I remember correctly, I seem to recall hearing that they had done quite a bit of planting in there, but at a certain point, those, the good trees take a while to grow up. And
Yeah, yeah.
the blackberries, unfortunately, once they get a little sun on them, they just go to town. So
I'll give Nancy a call too and find out what's been done in the past, because I think when they were building the trail, they may have had to do some work in that area. So let me ask her too.
Okay, next time I go, I'll just put my clippers in my pocket.
Ironically, Don, I was on that section at 3 o'clock today, and Sandy Maidens was out there with a trimmer, so they must have heard you.
Then I will not put my clippers in my pocket. That's great news.
It's a time of year where a week from now you'll need them. So
Nice.
Or by tomorrow, if you're my yard. Never ending.
All right.
Hey.
Maybe Jordan might know also the contact for the county to kind of check out to see what's up with all the earth moving that's going on. Because there's been two large, 100-ton piles. One that disappeared, and then it got put up again at the front of the property along 211, and then they've slowly been trucking it back to that corner.
Yeah.
interesting. They've got a sign giving it away too. So that's kind of weird.
They've been doing it for some time.
Yeah.
Maybe they're keeping the good stuff and getting rid of the bad stuff. All righty. Anything else on this topic? Not seeing anything. So staff updates. Sarah, do you got anything for us?
Not really, other than, the community garden has been repaired. Looks good. Was in there yesterday. And things are growing and boards are sticking together. And I can put that to bed for at least a year, which is great news.
Yeah, the garden is very nice.
Yeah, looks good. It's kind of fun to go in there this time of year. Even if you don't have a garden, check it out. It's fun to see it just bursting with plants and produce. And so thank you to the ant farm for working on that for quite some time and coming up with a solution for us.
Yeah,
We appreciate them. Yeah.
Hey, Sarah, quick question for you.
Okay.
Is City Hall reopened yet, or is it still closed?
It is open in a limited fashion, but it is open. You can go there and take care of business. You're still wearing a mask. If you've been vaccinated, I believe you can show your card. I haven't seen the actual policy, but I believe that's what I was told the other day. So yeah, doors are unlocked, the front doors.
Well, that's leading to my next question, which is, has there
I
been
know what's coming.
any decisions on in-person meetings?
Yeah, so what I think may happen is I think we'll probably still be meeting on Zoom but in July, but maybe by August. So council has an in-person meeting, I believe, on the 21st. And staff is working hard because with, what we've experienced with COVID, they are trying to maintain the opportunity for people to participate in the meetings from home on an ongoing basis. So that, you'll be able to go in person, but you'll also be able to participate from home. So they're working on all those pieces and getting all the equipment to work together. So I think what I'd like to do is give them this month to get council organized. And then once there's, a system that works, then I think maybe by